welcome back. Today we're starting a new series, which is part of my quest to self-educate and just learn more about the world, because, listen, I had a very white education. I did. And not only did I have a very white education, I was in Montana, which I'm just gonna say, I moved there from Reno, Nevada when I was a sophomore, and the classes that I was taking were things that I had already taken, like, 7th grade? Probably earlier. Like, it felt like being back in 6th grade, so not the best. But today in particular, we are building a rock-cut church. This is something that's really common in Axum, which is also spelled Axum with a K, and it is a town in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. It's basically the historic capital of the Axumite Empire, which was one of 4 superpowers in the world, on par with Rome. Still baffled that I didn't know much about it, although I have a kitten, obviously, and so I've been playing things for him, and I played Bill Wirt's History of the World, I guess, and they do briefly mention Axum, which is fun. But yeah, it is a very old site, and these churches in particular are basically massive granite blocks where they carve a whole building out of them. They are down in the ground too. I don't do that here, but I am building a neighborhood that is going to use neighborhood deco to kind of achieve that. Because in The Sims 2, building down is complicated and difficult to play with. So we're going to achieve that look with neighborhood deco, but currently it's just freestanding. I also did want to try to limit CC a little bit and see just what I could achieve with what I already had. And I think I got a pretty decent result. I do think that I'm going to go back and change. I put like a fence on the roof, and I really don't think that it looks right. I think I'm going to go back and make it flat, because they were flat. But it's fine for now. I'll make little changes as I need to. We don't really know much about Axum prior to it becoming like a superpower, but there's been settlement in this area basically 7th to 4th century BC. There's also a lot of stelae and a lot of obelisks, has some of the largest obelisks in the world still standing. What else is exciting? There's quite a few palace structures that are just still above ground, sitting there. You could walk around to them, presumably, but it's wild to me that these, again, like, 4th century is really old. Like, we don't really even have a concept of how old that is. But they're there. Prior to converting to Christianity, they had a couple pre-Christian deities, but they did convert fairly early. I'm not sure, I think... Well, they became a tributary to the Byzantine Empire in 9th century. And then during the medieval period, they kind of did convert to Christianity. There's quite a few saints that come from here. The Ark of the Covenant is supposedly stored there. Yeah, the Axum Sayan was restored by Dawit I in 1406. And that seems... We don't have like an exact date, but that seems about when they were converting. And Axum itself, the region and the capital city, was the site of the coronation ceremonies for the Axumite kings, which apparently involved a ritual cutting a cord held by the daughters of Axum, symbolizing the king's ascent to the King of Zion. And they also had carved stone thrones for their, like, coronation chairs, which also still exist. Yeah, it's a very interesting, fascinating place. I could not begin to tell you everything about it. This is just my knowledge gleaned from various sources. Obviously, the Wikipedia sources that it has listed, a couple documentaries, And I think it's so cool, and I'm excited. I'm building a couple buildings from here. I'm going to create a couple sims as well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the Temple of the Forgotten Tomb, but I'm going to try. I'm not going to do another building that's well known as the Chapel of the Tablet. I do want to do a park that has obelisks in it. But the whole concept of this neighborhood is basically a non-European medieval well, it'll be an empty neighborhood, but I will have sims that, like, you can use if you want to. Just so that we have, like, an option. I knew I wanted to use those walls because they look right. And again, try to limit the CC. I did not decorate. I will do that later. I was having a hard time finding images of the interior and, like, understanding how it was laid out on the inside. I know that a lot of their buildings was like this weird cross shape. I guess it's not weird, it's pretty common, but like a lot of buildings besides churches, even their like palaces and stuff, have a specific structure to them. So I'm still learning, but that is what I've learned thus far. Like I said, I'm going to do a couple more builds from Axum, and then we're going to move on to other places throughout Africa, because there's so much. So much. But it's a good start. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I do use some lighting from the game. Yeah, I don't know how it's laid out. I don't know how it works. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a like. It really does help. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.